in the equation above, y is positive when x is equal to a plus 1/2, and negative when x is equal to a minus 1/2. Which of the following could be the value of a? So before we even dig deep and try these values out, let's try to simplify this expression a little bit, where we substitute x for these different values and then think about, well, we'll just try to make some sense out of it. So let's first think about the situation when x is equal to a plus 1/2. So I'm going to take this right-hand side of the expression, and I'm going to replace x with a plus 1/2. So you would have a plus 1/2 plus 2. So I'm just, everywhere I see an x, I'm replacing it with a plus 1/2 over a plus 1/2 minus 5. And when x is equal to a plus 1/2, they're telling us that y is positive. Well, y is equal to this expression. It's equal to this expression. So this whole expression is going to be positive. And we could simplify it a little bit. This would simplify to a plus 2.5 over a minus 4.5 is greater than 0. So that's this first part. And then we see this whole expression is negative when x is equal to a minus 1/2. So let's substitute x for a minus 1/2, or a minus 1/2 for x. And you have a minus 1/2 plus 2 over, actually let me do the magenta color since I underlined that in magenta color, plus 2 over a minus 1/2 minus 5. Once again, all I did is where I saw an x, I just substituted it with a minus 1/2. Now, when x is equal to this, they're telling us that y is negative. Well, y is this whole expression. So this whole expression is going to be negative. Now, let's simplify this a little bit. A minus 1/2 plus 2, well, that's going to be a plus 1.5. And the denominator, a minus 1/2 minus 5, that's going to be a minus 5.5. And this is going to be less than 0. So now let's see if we can make a little bit of sense of this. So all of our choices here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's look at this constraint right over here. How can we get a scenario where this whole thing is greater than 0? Well, you have something divided by something else. The only way something divided by something else that you're going to get greater than 0 if they're the same sign, if they're both positive or they're both negative. Now, this top expression right over here, this top expression is a plus 2.5. And all of our candidate A's right over here are positive. So the top of it, you have a positive number, plus 2.5. This is definitely going to be a positive up here for all of our candidates. So this part right over here is definitely going to be a positive value. So if this is a positive value, the only way that this whole thing is going to be greater than 0 is if this is also a positive value for the candidate, given that all of our candidate A's are all greater than 0. So how can this bottom part right over here, how can this be positive? Well, the only way this is going to be positive is if a is greater than 4.5. Well, lucky for us, we only have one choice for our a's where it's greater than 4.5. This is a choice. Choice E, or I guess 5, is the only value where this bottom part is going to be positive. Any of these other values, they're all less than 4.5, so the denominator right over here is going to be negative. Positive divided by negative, you're going to get a negative. So none of these other ones are going to meet the constraints. And you could verify yourself that 5 also works for this one over here. You get a positive value in the numerator. And over here, 5 minus 5.5, you get a negative value. So this indeed will be less than 0.